Coming up this week, I have more guests. Carmen Maria Montiel, running for the 18th Congressional District of Houston, Texas. Former Miss Venezuela. Ooh, a lot to talk about there. Author, survival, domestic abuse, mother, entrepreneur. Former and current candidate. She'll be on the show Tuesday. Just remember this, 2 o'clock Tuesday, and Tuesday's a twofer. So not only do I have Carmen on at 2, I'm going to have some regular Joe, not just another Joe, but a financial compliance investigator. What the hell is that, Floyd? That is a forensic auditor for anything to do with finance. So if you have a mortgage, a loan, credit card, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, emphasis on et cetera, Joe may be the guy for you. So tune in at 7 p.m. Central for just another Joe. And at 2, because it's a 2 for Tuesday, which is January 6th, 2 for Tuesday, we will have Carmen Maria Montiel, former Miss Universe. So you'll have a pretty face to look at aside from mine. And speaking of pretty faces, we got one coming up for you. Another super soldier, IREN. She's a multi-guest on the show. She is eager to tell her story. I'm definitely eager to hear it. It's fascinating. The whole super soldier aspect of everything is quite fascinating to me. Welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. As always, I am your host, Fearless Floyd. So thank you for coming over here and spending your time, money, and energy with us. And I hope you learned something. If you didn't catch the video I just did with Kurt Riggins, Chief Kurt Riggins, and we had a whole lot to talk about. And hey, if you're a convicted felon, we found the firearm for you. We did. If you're a convicted, well, no, not even if you're a convicted felon. If you're a tribal member, if you are one of these, hang on. I think I carry it. I may have put it up. Oh yeah, I do have it. If you are a card carrying member of a tribe, you got one of those. According to Chief Kurt, the right to travel, right to hunt, right to fish, unalienable. So he has a little notice, he calls it, a brief memorandum of law, whatever you want to do. Had it on the earlier show. We're going to dive deeper into the whole right to travel thing. But if you are a tribal member, and this is what I tell everybody, you should do your ancestry. You should find out, because I hear this all the time, oh, my grandmother told me that, so-and-so was a chief or a princess or blah, blah, this, the Cherokee Nation or something. And then they go do a test and they find out, man, I'm all European. I have no indigenous American Indian in me. So, yeah, I've seen that over and over and over. And a lot of people, it's all in your ancestry. The easiest way to do it is if you know your ancestors' full names. Like, it's real easy for me. All I got to do is go back for 4 Floyds and boom, there you go. For some people, it's a little bit more difficult. But if you go look on the DAWS roll, DAWES, there, you can find your ancestors there. Become a tribal member, and then, I'm going to pursue this. And I'm going to tackle this for all tribal members where, we have a right to travel. Boom, that's on. We have a right to hunt and fish anywhere and everywhere. Don't need a license. Man, I'm in. So, we need to take back our rights that were taken from us, that were stolen from us, or not being observed. Well, there we go. So we're going to have Kurt on more often. I'm going to have a lot of more guests on more often. I'm going to try to fill in the spaces and the gaps. I will tell you no, I'm not going to tell you that yet. So I don't want to burn up all her time. So let me get IREN over to the show before it gets too late. And I know it's still early where she's at, but for my East Coasters, it's late. And without further ado, a much prettier face than mine. IREN, how you doing? You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Sorry.
Good, good. How was your New Year?
It was great. We did a lot of fireworks.
Okay.
So that was fun.
That was fun. What's New Year's like in Hawaii? Because you're obviously you're the first state to celebrate.
We are? Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
apparently
East
they
Coast.
actually banned the
Oh, yeah,
fireworks
it's East
were
Coast.
the ones that
You're the
took a
last.
project.
Yeah, you're the last state. I'm sorry.
They apparently banned the ones that like shoot up into the sky. Apparently, I didn't know that. And our neighbors were doing that, and my husband told me that they probably came to check on us and say hello to see if we'll call the cops on them or something. I didn't even know it was illegal. But we didn't do anything like dangerous. It was just like those ground sparkly stuff, the ones that you put on the ground and it creates a show on the ground.
Okay.
Nothing really explosive or anything like that. We like our fingers.
Appendages. Yeah, I told everybody come back with all your appendages. Wear gloves. Wear safety glasses. Wear hearing protection. Yeah, I told everybody. I gave them the OSHA warning. So hopefully everybody came back. Well, good. I'm glad you had a happy New Year. What do you look forward to here in 2026?
So I had a really interesting dream today, and I think I might start working more. Like I got my nonprofit approved about 3 or 4 months ago. It's almost time for me to actually update the documents, which I absolutely hate doing the paperwork, but I have to do it. And I haven't used it so far. I just approved it. It took me like a whole year to get it approved, and I'm thinking, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm thinking of combining my super soldier stuff with my nonprofit, because essentially, if you think about it, super soldier program itself is slavery. So, so I kind of when I was making this nonprofit, I didn't consciously know that I was going after slavery because I was in slavery, because I've been wanting to do this for like maybe 10 years now. I've been like kind of going back and forth, but only like last year. Well, before that, I was trying to join other nonprofits, but they didn't really take me seriously because I don't really have any experience on paper with that, but I can't really tell them I was in a secret program that there is no proof of. So, like physical people want physical proof. So I finally made my own nonprofit, and
well, hang on. Let's go back to that, and I'll definitely get to the nonprofit. I'm not going to abandon that. If you do an affidavit stating this is my story, and you put it in the public sphere, and there's nobody to rebut that, if the United States Air Force, Navy, Marine, any governmental official or body or subsidiary, whatever you want to call it, does not rebut that affidavit, that stands as truth in the public sphere. So who can, unless you're rebutting that, saying, oh no, it didn't exist, and then you're going to have to contest against all of the super soldiers who are, regaining more memories, right? Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna look into that. I didn't know anything about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you testify under oath and nobody rebuts that, yeah, come rebut it. Come debate me.
What does it mean under oath? Like I need
I swear, tell truth, whole truth. Let me do it right. I
So
swear, truth, help me God. That's how I do it.
do I need some kind of signature from someone that testified, or that I?
You have other super soldiers?
Oh, the super soldiers. Yeah, I don't know, because our community is kind of considered just crazy people. So I don't know how that
Like I'm
works.
not? Have you talked to anybody I grew up with? They think I'm just like some Looney Tunes dude. I'll get all
So,
technical on them, start spitting out some scientific terms and bullshit, and they're just like, hold on, wasn't this
I
the
mean,
idiot in our class who just like didn't pay attention, never took a test, didn't that guy? Yeah. And then I'm talking about these topics like super soldiers and men in black.
yeah, I should look into it. It would. I mean, if I get the chance someday, I would go up in front of them. But I don't know.
We'll get to that in a second.
Uh,
I want to
I
get your
would go
nonprofit
in.
while you're still on there. Okay. Because I want to show you something, because you missed the beginning of my first show that I did with Chief Kurt. I just now got to my mailbox, and this is from December 5th. So it's been sitting in my mailbox, and it's one of my viewers, subscribers, students in the class sent me a present actually a bunch of presents for Christmas. And see if you can see it on here. No, that doesn't give you a good one. I'm looking for something that says all of it. I know you probably can't see that white lettering, right? But I'll read
Yeah.
it. It says C3 Farm Ministries, a 508c1a church. It's a healing ministry, utilizing plant-based medicine and the frequency of faith, naturopaths, holistic healing. And he sent me all this stuff. These are whole hemp seeds, and he sent me magic salve organic cannabis cream. He sent me 2 of these little containers. 2. He sent me this pen right here. There we go. And this is a private membership association, a 508 nonprofit that he set up. So this is his side hustle. This is kind of like where you're going. So here's a little flyer on the salve that he sent me, this stuff. Then he sent me his product sheet. I don't want to hold that up close. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, just in case. He sent me a book. And he sent me the Declaration of Independence. And it is, he also sent me his flag, his family flag that I tell everybody, create your own flag. If you have an assembly, you should have your own flag. If you have your own county, your own flag, et cetera, et cetera. So he's got his little, where's it at? Where's the green? There it is, the green stamp. And then his seal, right? Is it not signed, sealed, and delivered? Isn't that how you're supposed to operate? Signed, sealed, and delivered, folks? This is somebody who paid attention, who listened. There's their gold foil embossed seal. Have I not taught everybody all this? Absolutely, I have. A certificate. The gold seal's already on here, but it is embossed. I don't know if you can see that. But what this tells me is this. And you're looking at a private security backed by a silver coin, which in silver is worth about $5.55, something like that. But it has a registered serial number on it. Has a value of what it's worth. All you have to do is endorse it to accept it. And it is a bearer bond, basically. And again, you see his seal and his signature, and it's been delivered. Signed, sealed, delivered. All I have to do is endorse it, redeem it back to C3 Farms, redeemable at C3 in cannabis products. So he sent me this. All I got to do is sign it, send this in, and I can get more product. And I don't know, I might be able to create my own private security with my own dime. One dime. This is a barber dime, which some of you won't recognize. Whoops, I flipped it all the way over. There you go. And send it back, and maybe he will take that, and yeah, we'll just keep bartering, exchanging. And maybe I'll make a product and he can send me some of these for one of these. I don't know. You see how that works? That's where society should be going, and it's not. So David sent me all this stuff, and man, I'm just so grateful and gracious. So I'm going to sit here and promote him while I can. But there you go. There's a template for what your ideation is and what your goal is for 2026. So if you'd like, I'll hook you up with this gentleman here who I would just be more than happy to discuss this with you and walk you through this to have you set up your own nonprofit, your private membership association, and everything.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. It's kind of hard to figure out how to fuse these things together because, so I'm going after trafficking, yeah, but the thing is that most of these programs nowadays, well, sometimes they traffic human beings physically, but a lot of times they don't traffic. They have advanced technology enough to not traffic them physically. So I think a best approach right now would be for me to teach people how to defend themselves so they don't get trafficked when they're asleep. So they don't get pulled out of their body because,
well, define trafficking. So most people, you think like, okay, they kidnap a body and now that body gets passed from one person to the next till they end up in a brothel or something like that. So define what human trafficking is, or what you're talking about here, so everybody gets it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I actually asked someone that has been working on just regular trafficking for, I think it was since the 90s. And when he first started his nonprofit, I forgot his name right now, but when he started his nonprofit, he said that when he was talking about human trafficking, people were like, there is no way somebody would do this to another person. It was like a new concept back then. And now I'm actually kind of introducing a completely new concept even further, in that now everybody knows human trafficking exists. It's like a known everywhere kind of topic. But I'm introducing new topic in even more expanded view on this, because humanity is getting trafficked off world as well. Besides criminal trafficking humans here and there on Earth themselves, there's also ETs and corporations, human corporations that traffic humans as well. So, and they usually use very advanced tech. They can erase memory, just like with super soldiers, they also erase memory. So if there is no memory, if there is no proof, it's really hard to say that someone was trafficked.
Go into who these traffickers are a little bit more.
So there is corporations outside of Earth, also military. SSP is one of the traffickers. The people who are in the SSP are trafficked themselves because we get taken there against our will, we work, and then we're disposable after that. So that is slavery itself. So we get taken for military purposes. That's where I was. But then also people get taken for mining, building projects like buildings and structures and stuff like that. Some get trafficked for energy harvesting. Um, some get trafficked for DNA, for organs as well. So there's like many different reasons why they traffic people, but it's not only Earth. It's not only something that's happening on Earth. It's happening off world, and I think that's important to know, because a lot of times when they create wars, um, these people at the top, they manipulate things, countries and stuff like that, to create wars, because in reality there is no countries. The whole earth is uh, one slave colony of corporations. It's not really there. The countries are only made there to create the illusion that um, there is separation, but in reality there is none. And the reason they need wars is because when there's wars and there's chaos, they can take people off planet physically, and nobody's gonna notice that there are people missing because they're gonna think they died in wars. Right now, a lot of people are getting trafficked in Ukraine, Palestine, like these areas where there's wars, and people think that they're just dying in the war, but no, a lot of people are actually getting taken off planet, and the war is the cover up for it. And the war is a theater to cover this up.
Wow. Huh. I could see whole platoons getting taken and just saying, "Oh yeah, they got blown up."
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing left to find is, yeah. Wow. So what happens when they come back? Or they never come back, right? They just get what, sold off as a commodity?
Yeah, they get sold off for different reasons. Cloned, sold off for different sex trafficking, organ labor, whatever they need them for.
Yeah, I imagine, DNA is like anything else. Once you start cloning a clone and a clone and a clone and a clone, you start to deteriorate the or original DNA. And by the time yeah. Wow. I told y'all it just gets crazier by the minute. uh, I was thinking when you were telling me that, I wonder what would happen if you filed in the United States Federal Court of Claims or even in a international court of justice for reparations for being trafficked, kidnapped.
Me being kidnapped to SSP, or people being kidnapped during wars?
No, you all of you in the secret space.
In the secret space program?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. They keep it hidden with the memory erasure. And when there is no solid memories and there is no physical proof of it, something happening, that's how these aliens keep that illusion that everything is fine. But in reality, everything's a lot darker than we believe it to be, because of the amnesia. If there is no memories, there is no proof of something happening.
Well, you do. Some of you are having memories, some that are more acute than others, with more specific details, better memory of people that they encountered. So, believe me, I'm a novice at this subject, so I haven't listened to all of them. I don't know their stories, how in depth they go, but I do know that some are very specific, very in depth. That maybe in their memories, they can actually remember a real person that's in the military, like maybe a general or an admiral or somebody like that. In their repressed memories, it just seep through and they can identify that person. They may not know who they are or where they are, but they remember that name, that face, that rank, whatever. and it's actually a real person that's still holding rank in our military. So
They
if
wouldn't be on the surface. The ones that
or,
we
or
know of, they wouldn't be on the surface.
so it'd be nobody that was on the military and the
No, they wouldn't be in the open military.
okay. Well, if somebody knew names and they could make allegations, and you're suing the United States, U.S. Federal Court of Claims, because what you're looking for is somebody to come forward to rebut your claim, right? Who's going to do that? You follow
Yeah,
me?
I don't even know if that's gonna work because the secret space program, they have alien tech. So it's like, well, even if I explain myself to these organizations, what are they gonna do? They can't fight alien tech with guns and powder. They have
Right.
portals. They have very advanced tech. They have advanced suits. They can change dimensions. They can appear and disappear in front of a person. So it's like trying to fight a gun with arrows. It's
Well, what I
just
was looking for is more an acknowledgement that you're basically filing this to trick the government into acknowledging that oh yeah, there's a program there, but we can't talk about it, or it's top secret, or it's classified, or they're going to put up some front guy who's going to give you a bunch of bullshit story, or the attorney general. I don't even know who would represent the United States. Probably the solicitor general, which Ted Cruz once held that position, would defend the United States.
that would be interesting conversation to have. But I think most likely they're gonna say we don't know anything that you're talking about, and yeah, we know nothing. I don't
Well, if
know.
you
We
came
don't know.
forward and you, how many super soldiers do you think have come out in the public? 200?
Maybe something like that. But there's like thousands of us getting trafficked every day
Well, what if all of y'all
for
banded together?
different reasons, not
Yeah.
just
Well,
SSB.
well, what if you were
Different.
the instigator because you're starting this now in Modern Slavery Coalition? So, what if you and all the other super soldiers got together and put in affidavits, and now you have 200 affidavits stating that we were in this program. This is my memory, blah, 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 blah. Just like you have one. Everybody's going to be different, similar, but different because your own experiences, different places, different times, different associations, everything, but it still has this narrative story. And if you went into these specific courts, what I'm saying is there's no telling what the hell you'll elicit by doing such. I mean, otherwise, it's just you guys out here telling your story without anybody in the government, saying yay, nay, oh no, they're crazy, or yeah, that really happened, but we can't talk about it, that kind of thing. Because no, because there will be whistleblowers that come out undercover and they'll say, oh yeah, that was a real thing, or that's a real thing, but you can't show my face, can't show my name, can't say who I am, but I'm going to confirm that really existed. This has happened for decades.
It would be interesting to see if we could get something like that together, but I know some people are actually afraid of losing their job over this,
Yeah.
because when they find us online talking about these kind of things, then it's really hard to get hired, and people kind of turn away. They start looking weird at us. So some people are actually afraid of losing a good salary over this. Um, yeah, it would be interesting. There's some people that I kind of watch. I think they're emotionally are kind of very traumatized, and I think if they stood up and talked about their experiences, if they're not emotionally um, grounded, I think it might sound like they're not really fully there. Um, yeah, that would be interesting to see how if we could get something like that together. But for some reason, I don't know. I've been contacting other super soldiers, but they kind of just stay like on their own by themselves. We kind of do the same thing in the programs. When we were in the programs, I was actually very quiet. I spoke very rarely. I did not smile. I'm very different now
Do you have any
because
brothers and sisters?
no.
You're the only child. Is that a an issue? Like where most of the super soldiers are only children? Or you even have you even thought of it?
Um, Actually, I know, well, I know some that are lonely children, but then I know, for example, my husband, he has three brothers, and two of his brothers have memories of being in the programs too. So
Took
they
all.
took three of them in the programs.
That makes
Um,
sense.
so I guess it really depends if they're good enough to search to serve, if they feel like they're good for these programs.
Well, I'm wondering if, like, they just took one out of a, multi sibling family, or they just targeted like yourself, you individually as a only child, or if they did find another family with what the gifted genetics that they were looking for, that they would take all the children instead of just pluck one or two and leave one or two. You follow me?
Yeah, from his family, only one is has absolutely no memories of anything like that, and the other, him and the other two are pretty traumatized. so, so they took three children from the family, and his mother was in the military her whole life, so he also has some kind of military connection.
Suicide among veterans is, higher than the national average. So, what is it like with super soldiers? Do you know? Do you guys keep track of that, or
Yeah, it's very high, and also a lot of times they end up in psychiatric hospitals for schizophrenia, because when they when the telepathy is on, and we know how to work with it, we have the training to work with it accurately. It works the way it should be, but when we get our memory suppressed, it becomes out of control, and then they start to not really know how to use it correctly. So it overwhelms them.
wow, that's crazy? 'Cause I was watching Tucker Carlson earlier, and I had no idea that one third of Gen Z has already died. And I was like,
Mm.
what? How? And most people, they interviewed people on the streets, and most people's guess were heart attacks, diabetes, or the thing that we got, or the illness that everybody had, or cancer. All the obviouses. And then they said, "Oh no, it's abortion." So one third of the next generation has already died due to abortion because abortion is so readily available. I just found that unique because back in my generation, you had to go find a place to get an abortion. And if you did, it was very hush hush down low. You didn't tell anybody. Most parents came from a strict religious household, and the daughters were required, if they got pregnant and out of wedlock, to go have the child at these what were they called? My dad worked at one, volunteered at one. Um, Basically, that's where unwed mothers went for like a year and went and lived and still went to school and got pregnant and had their child. And then the child was given away for adoption. And once they, weren't showing any signs of their pregnancy, they came back and assimilated back in their household into the community. So it's quite a different world then as it is now. Um, really, you're how old? You were born in when? 89?
91. So
91?
I'm 34.
34. Okay, yeah, you're like 8 years younger than my daughter. She was born in 99. So what? Let me ask you from that viewpoint of that age and this current economy, what do you see?
Well, I honestly don't think I want to have children because of the economy. Um, but also because I was in the program, so it's gonna make my child more targeted into these kind of things. I don't know what to think, but right now we're like kind of in the crossroads where people who are kind of energetically higher and are healing healing their past are kind of creating one timeline, and then people who are stuck in the programming and they just um, are stuck in the Truman Show are kind of going in a different timeline. And I think one is going to be more like nature oriented, kind of hippie, more spiritually very positive timeline. And then the other one is going to be the one where people are going to continue to live in the Truman Show, but the Truman Show is going to become more and more extreme, where to a point where they will become the same as the secret space program, where all of our thoughts were constantly monitored and we had no privacy at all. And every time we would think some kind of thoughts that the AI did not think we should be thinking, they would be suppressed, and we would lose those thoughts and memories. Any memories they thought that we shouldn't have, any thoughts that we shouldn't have, they were constantly suppressed and constantly monitored. I actually got a recall like 2 days ago or something like that. I was thinking, why didn't I like fight for my memories? Because when you're losing memories, it's kind of like, you know, when you are speaking and then you lose your train of thought, and then you're just like fighting to find that thing that you were just thinking about. It's the same kind of feeling where you just lose it, and then you have to like fight to try to get it back. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're okay, well, it's gone. I can't remember what I was thinking about. It's the same thing in the SSP. The thought is just gone, or the memory is just gone, and you're trying to find it. And sometimes when you fight hard enough, you might bring that back into the surface, and sometimes it's just gone and then you can't do anything about it. Um, and what I realized is I got a recall thinking when I was thinking about that. The reason why I didn't fight for my memories more and try to keep my memories as much as I possibly can, because I've done it so much that after a while I just got tired of fighting. So I just got exhausted of trying to fight for my memories while they're slipping away. So imagine every single time you're thinking about something they don't want you to think, you're losing your train of thought. And that's like happening daily all the time. After a while, you get exhausted with trying to find these thoughts that you just lost. So that's how this kind of control works. It just exhausts you to a point where you don't have any more energy to go after these thoughts and try to find them in your head. You just let them go and move on with your life, because it's just you either have too many other problems that you also have to deal with sometimes, and or you're just exhausted of trying to get these memories or thoughts back. So it works on exhaustion. So if humanity keeps going into the Truman Show, those that keep going into the Truman Show, which are a lot of people right now that I'm looking at, because they still think continents, countries are exist. They think governments exist. They think uh, all of these political heads exist. They think elites exist. In reality, none of these people really exist. The real control is outside of Earth. Earth is one big Truman Show, and that's it. It doesn't really have all of these people that we think are controlling us are not real. They're not. They're just puppets that can be replaced at any time. They only are there because they say the right things at the right time for these off-world controllers. That's it. They're not there to do anything besides that. So people who continue in that Truman Show kind of mentality, they don't see anything outside of Earth, the real control. They're gonna continue, and they're at some point they're gonna end up in a timeline where they're gonna be controlled as much as we were in the secret space program. So we're basically are the future of what could go wrong. If everything went wrong, what could go wrong?
So we are realistically living revelations at the present moment.
Yeah, we're diverging in two timelines: the Truman Show timeline, and also the the more soft kind of hippie, stay away from society, go off grid kind of society where people just go off grid, they start living on their own, and government falls apart. The illusion falls apart because they're no longer financing the illusion. So we either are gonna go into Truman Show where they tighten the leash and people cannot get away from the government even if they want to, because now their thoughts are not gonna be theirs anymore, or they're gonna go into a different timeline where well, it's different people are gonna go into different timelines. Um, in many ways, they're gonna be some people are gonna just be disappearing with no trace, and that's how they end up in a different timeline. You just knew a person, and all of a sudden they're just not calling you and not texting you, and they're just not part of your timeline anymore. And then some people are going to be dying, and then but they're going to be existing in that other timeline, but they're going to be gone from your reality. Some are going to disappear that way. I mean, the Matrix kind of keeps the illusion. It tries to keep the illusion of continuity of life, so you don't notice the separation between timelines. But the separation is definitely going to be happening. So if you're in a timeline where that other person does energetically does not belong, they're still in the mentality of the Truman Show. They're either gonna die or they're just gonna disappear from your reality. They're just gonna stop calling, um, or they're gonna move to another place and you never hear about them. So that's how like reality kind of creates keeps the illusion, keeps the matrix going, but in reality they're not actually not on the same earth as you are anymore.
I'm just thinking about all those people that I've deliberately deleted from my life. How they are no longer in my timeline. They're not going to be ever in my timeline.
Yeah, that's another way that you separate yourself from them, and they go into a different timeline and you go into a different one.
Yes. And you set your agenda. You create your own roadmap, right? So let me ask you this. You're in Hawaii, so you're kind of sequestered, but I do know that there are rural areas. Hawaii, I would imagine you probably live in the city, correct?
No, I actually live outside in the rural area.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, awesome. So are you off grid or are you getting off
Um,
grid?
Almost. The only thing that I still need from the city is electricity. But I think if it's the end of the world, I can live without that.
Okay. There's a website on YouTube. I think it's called Liberty Engines, but they have all types of what they do is they master different types of devices that will run continuously without energy to make them work. One of them, they've taken just a basic generator that you can go buy at Home Depot, just for like 400 or 500 bucks, and convert it to where it runs on water, not gas, water, with this specific chemical added to it. You can get the chemical in the big bags, like you can buy salt softener for water conditioners.
Hmm.
So there's, yeah, that's, y'all should start looking into that. Solar panels as well to get off grid. But you can set that
Yeah,
whole
we'll see
system.
what timeline we go into because there's like infinite number of them all the time. We're constantly shifting, but the one that seems like the most probable right now for me, it seems like that one. But that might be just my timeline. Doesn't mean that's someone else's timeline.
Right. Yep.
So
I get it. And that's my goal for 2026 is to initiate some type of off the grid property somewhere. And that's what I'm kind of leaning towards. I think time is of the essence. What do you think on that?
yeah, I mean they're gonna start. They're starting. There is a timeline where they're starting to implement digital ID, and from the digital ID is basically how things start rolling down the hill. Because then after that, it's gonna be all of your digital information is gonna be on there, and then eventually your mind is gonna be connected to it. So so it's gonna be just a spiral down for the Truman Show people from there.
How quickly do you think that's going to
I
get here?
think most likely it's gonna start next year for some people
Because we know the
if they're
agenda.
aligned with that timeline.
Yeah, well, they have the 2030 agenda, so that's when they want the 15-minute cities and all digital and wired into the Internet of bodily things and uh, penultimate control over humanity.
Yeah, when they get to the mind where they can get into the head, that's when the real problem starts. Because that it's really hard to get out of something where you can't even think clearly, where you can't even remember anything. You learn about the illusion and then you forget it right away, and it's very hard to get out of that reality.
What would you suggest for people that are going to see this video and don't know how to do that? What do you suggest for that?
Um, well, what I noticed is it's very important um, to work on old traumas. And I know I've said this before, but and I've said it many times on my channel, but I think it's very important because when you process old traumas, your subconsciousness is learning something from it. It's learning a life lesson. And when you learn your life lesson, even if it's a negative experience, when you learn your life lesson, your soul learns its life lesson. It no longer repeats the same. You no longer create that um, same thing in the future because now your soul has learned. It knows what that is like. It has learned its life lesson from that experience, so it no longer wants to repeat that experience again to try to learn something from it because it already has. So it's very important to process old traumatic memories, traumatic anything that you feel is creating a traumatized reaction in you. Look into it, because that means you did not process something, and your soul did not learn its life lesson from it.
Define processing it.
So you go into the memory and you fully go into it. You don't run away from it. You don't suppress, deny it, reject it, or anything like that. And you let your mind process it. Let it think whatever it wants to think about it. Let it loop it as much as it wants to loop it. Let it feel whatever it wants to feel about it. And once it's done doing that, it might take sometimes weeks, sometimes it might take months, sometimes it takes months, and then it would come back in like half a year or a year later again. That means you did not fully process it completely. There's still some residue of it there in your system. So once you do that, you will learn your life lesson. Even if you don't learn it consciously, on some level you will learn your life lesson. And that way you let go of things that, because our soul, it doesn't matter for it whether it's a negative experience or a positive experience. It just wants to experience everything. So 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 from a soul perspective, negative things, negative experiences, no matter how traumatic they are life lessons and nothing more. They're not the same way we see them here. So if you process it, your soul no longer wants to play around with that. It no longer wants to create that in its reality to learn something from it.
No wonder I don't want to do anything. I mean, that explains everything. No, seriously, you know, because I work with the children of the people that I started in the industry being a stagehand. I'm working with their kids now. It's crazy. Uh, and they're always like, "Hey, man, you want to go out? You want to do this? You want to do that?" And matter of fact, New Year's Eve, I hung out. I invited one of them over to my buddy's party, and we were all hanging out. Uh, and I tell them, in this town in Houston, there's nothing that you can take me to do that haven't already done in excess. I mean, to the extreme. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's going to topless bars or dating the most beautiful women or having no line, no cover VIP to every top club where you can just like club hop with a limo full of people and you're getting everybody in, no line, no cover. Doesn't matter what the bar is. I've been that guy. I've done everything. Now I'm just like, what's left there to do? I like going out and watching live music because that's always, new, live, entertaining. But for the most part, yeah, I just don't do anything anymore. There's just, I've done it. Take me to do something I haven't done. Like if you want to take me to go jump out of an airplane, I haven't done that. I want to go do that. I want to feel like what it is to fly because I've done that through chemicals where I fell in darkness to I thought I was dead. And it felt so great that I jumped up and terrified everybody yelling, "Fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah." What a crazy freaking life. So, are we in a simulation in the Matrix?
Yes, but it's very interesting though, because we're the ones that are creating the simulation without being aware that we're the creator of the simulation. So you're basically playing a video game, but as you're playing the video game, you're creating the video game.
So, you're both.
Yes, you're the avatar and also the creator of the video game itself.
Right. They have a name for that. I'm trying to remember it and I can't. What they call that. Something role play. Uh, Maybe I'll think of it during the show. Wow. So is it, and I don't know if this is your belief or it comes from your own research or your own experiences. Um, so the people that are going to be enlightened, the enlightened ones, that they're going to be able to unplug from the matrix, and it's your determination that will be going off grid, right? And define what actuality off grid is for you and the application towards what you're defining here.
Well, off grid, I think at some point, at least in my timeline, there's a possibility in my timeline. Um, the way things are going, there is a big possibility now that people are going to get tired of paying their taxes. And once they stop doing that, um, everything is going to start falling apart because it's no longer financed. So that means if they no longer support what they've been supporting before, they're going to have to support themselves on their own. Um, but that's one time like out of many, of course. It might go a different way as well. The only thing is that I'm working on processing right now the mind control, so I don't end up in that timeline anymore. I want to make sure that I fully process it and I don't create that in my reality anymore because I already know what it's like and I don't want to. I don't want to go through that again. Um, so I'm trying to learn what I can learn from that experience and move on and have my life lessons from it and just keep going from that. And hopefully I won't end up in that timeline with some people. But some people are, they definitely are, they might choose that. I could see it. Um,
The grid, off the grid. What is that defined? Is that like no longer will you have a smart device? No longer
yeah, no
will you
smart
have
device,
Wi-Fi?
just living the way we used to live 100 years ago as
You
much
know,
as possible.
some people would debate about how we lived 100 years ago, that Tartaria was just not too much further behind, and then Atlantis and all that, and we've been lied
Yeah,
to.
true.
And if it's a simulation, it could have been last week for all we know. Wow. So basically self sufficient. So you're growing your own food, your own livestock, right? If you have water, aquaculture, obviously you live on an island, so seafood shouldn't be a problem unless it's contaminated. And then your utilities, which you can remedy that and get where they're buying electricity from you. That's just a money thing, right?
Yeah, get candles.
Well, there's all
No, instead of electricity, get candles.
well, there's all different ways to do that. To
Yeah.
do, I hope you have a blue roof. No, did I say that out loud?
I don't know if they're gonna try it here. It's too wet where I am.
Too wet.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so this is what I say about we're up against a time limit. So what you're describing now is, don't pay taxes. So I don't know if we have enough time in this quarter, which is April 15th is our tax day here in the United States. And I know Marjorie Taylor Greene's come out and said, hey, hey, look at all the fraud and corruption, lack of transparency, zero accountability. Let's not pay our federal taxes.
I
Let's
don't
not.
think it's gonna be this year. I think the pressure cooker is gonna keep going for a little longer before people really snap.
Well, I think that's why Trump's coming out and saying, "Hey, guess what? This tax year, everybody's going to, be all hunky dory, and guess what? We're fixing to send you a rebate check from, or a stimulus check, or whatever how the hell they label it. But basically, they're just robbing Peter to pay Paul, because we're all paying for it, and that just, oh man, are people stupid?
They're um, the real information is being kept from them. That's the biggest problem. And there's also collective energy fields put around the earth that actually make certain thoughts and ideas vanish from people's minds. So to some degree, we are already in the secret space program control, but it's not as intense as it could be. But some thoughts are getting already filtered, like some ideas, some things that, for example, the type of information that I'm presenting, the reason there's not that many people interested in it, because there's that energetic block of getting people energetically aligned with that information. So they kind of end up being not interested, and they don't really completely understand why they're not interested in it. But there is like on an energetic level, they're being influenced.
Wow. So would that work on like a 5G frequency or even a classified top secret frequency? We don't even, we're not privy to know, but we know exist.
Yeah, they do use 5G. They're gonna use 6G as well, but they do use like pure energy as well.
Define pure energy.
It's kind of hard to say. It's a bioelectric energy.
Okay.
I don't really understand the
science behind it.
The science behind it. I understand it on a internal mechanism, how it works inside my body. But
do you know who Sabrina Wallace is?
Not right now, no.
Okay, I'll send you some information on Sabrina Wallace. She's an electrical engineer by trade. And she's broken it all down. And I just watched another video, and apparently since 1995, we're wired in. Wirelessly, but we're wired in.
It's probably been even before that. It just, they didn't know. The surface military didn't know about it, because the secret space program has been around for 64,000 years.
Yeah, this is
so they've been controlling us this whole time.
Yeah, she can prove that's the point. It's like, what can you prove with their own documents, their own speeches, their own whatever? And that's what she's doing, going back and getting all that information, listening to some presentations and symposiums and seminars, and it's just or colleges or research and development. It's insane how much information's out there, and you have to connect all that and put it together. And that's why more and more and more I just have this belief that, like you said, we're in this crazy matrix simulation. And as a child, and I don't know why I thought this, but I always thought that we're like a snow globe or an ant farm in some little child's room, and he's got a bunch of us. Every now and then he'll come turn the light on, and some crazy stuff happens. But for him, it may just be a month of his life, but for us, it's eons. Like ants. Like ants, when I don't know if you've ever owned an ant farm. Have you ever owned an ant farm?
Yeah, no, I've watched ants though.
Well, as a kid, this is part of growing up, how kids don't grow up like this anymore, that you could buy an ant farm and you would get you get a piece of plastic that was probably about as big as this, and it was thick, and it was two sheets of plexiglass, and it had a little thing that went on top, and you put this like white gravel in there, for lack of a better term, and they'd give you a little canister full of live ants, and you'd pour the ants in there, and they'd be running around on top, and then they start digging their little tunnels, and you could watch them create this big ant farm. And as the ants died off, they would make a cemetery for all the dead ants that you could see. So they'd take a dead ant and they'd carry it over there and they'd put it in the cemetery, go over here, and they had their little nest where they created more ants. And that was your ant farm. And that's what I thought, that, hey, that's what we're all about. We're all these little organisms running around doing all this in our time, but we're in actually somebody else's time. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think it's really interesting because we're kind of in a closed system on a soul level, so we can't actually go outside of the solar system unless we bypass the AIs that are monitoring the solar system. I talked about that last time.
Right. So is the solar system just another dimension?
No, there is universe outside of the solar system. It's just that they created this artificial soul catching, technologically they created a soul catching, like a snow globe around the solar system, and that's why souls keep getting recycled and they keep living the same lifetimes over and over and over again, doing the same similar things. And it's not very good for soul growth because you don't really learn anything new. It's really interesting. I actually recently found out that when I contact, when you say about time, it also reminded me of this. When I contact operatives in the SSP who are on Earth and underground, I don't contact. Well, I actually contacted some that were on ships as well. But they didn't tell me exact location because it's not safe for them to do that. They can get in trouble, and I don't ask them questions that can get them in trouble. I don't want them to get punished or hurt for talking to me. Even though they don't know we're talking, even if they find out that we were talking, I don't want them to have a reason to hurt them. So I don't ask any questions that I feel is going to get them in trouble. But it's really interesting because I just found out that when I contact them, if I contact them the next day, it's actually a week for them. It's been a week for them. Their time and my time is different. And I've only been talking to them for like 6 months. For them, it's actually been more than a year now.
Is it because of the reality that they're in that may be moving at a faster pace than our reality?
Yeah. And you know why they're moving faster is because their knowledge is vibrationally higher. They know higher dimensional knowledge. And they're dealing with higher dimensional problems. So it basically puts them in a different higher vibrational reality. Even though they're on the same earth, they're actually in a higher dimensional reality than me.
Okay. Sorry, I got 3 calls I had to accept. Go ahead. Sorry.
So they vibrate differently than I do, even though we're on the same planet, and time is different for them than it is for me.
So if they're Earthlings, right? They're born here on Earth.
They're underground right now. Well, yeah, they were taken from the surface, from
so
the same place I am right now.
All right.
From
so
3D.
for instance, they took a watch with them, and the watch has the day and date. Are they still on the same calendar that we are? Same time, 24-hour, 12-hour cycle? Or they completely changed to something comparable to their reality at the time?
I actually haven't asked what their cycle on the ground is. I know they sleep like only 4 hours, and then yeah, they do. I think they work 20 hours and they sleep 4 hours.
Okay. Well, it would
They
make sense that they would have a different circadian rhythm than what we would have here on Earth.
I don't know if they go by the sun on the surface because they're under synthetic lighting all the time over there. They don't
Yeah.
get sunlight. Um, they don't even get like natural food that we get. Like they get something similar to, it's like a protein paste and then some kind of like gray cubes that it's basically like cat food for humans. It doesn't sound very tasty. I don't remember it. Maybe that's why I don't remember it. But apparently I ate that as well when I was there.
they
Um,
they serve it in prison and they call it a food loaf, and
really,
it's all your basic nutrition all reduced in one loaf. And that's what you
really,
get. You get one loaf per day. Yes, they condense all three meals into one loaf, and it tastes horrible, looks horrible, and it's the same meal three times a day or one time a day. Yeah, food loaves.
so it's probably something similar to what they have underground.
Well, they came out. I'm just such a fount of information and experience. I once worked for this assistant warden on the Beto 1 unit in Tennessee Colony, Texas, named Andrew James Collins, Andy Collins, who eventually became the executive director of the entire Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And when he got to that position, and I wouldn't work for him then, that was later. He hooked up with this Canadian named Yank Berry. Yank Berry had this product called VitaPro, and this shit was just add water nastiness, and it was getting people sick, blowing them up. Tasted terrible, was terrible to begin with, and they were trying to incorporate that into the food management system for Texas prisoners. That's no more were we going to bring you, beef and chicken and pork chops and all that. Now you're just going to get this VitaPro. And that turned out to be a insider trading deal. And yeah, he got in all kind of trouble for that. But yeah, same principle. Another company, believe it or not, a one meal supplement where you could just drink your meal and it had everything in it that you needed. And it was mistakenly called Soylent, as in Soylent Green. Yeah, really. That's a real thing. I'm not making that up. You can go look it up. Failed company for sure. But yeah, that's exactly what you're talking about. So I've experienced that on multiple levels. Crazy. So yeah, that's a thing. Don't think it's not a thing. I'm sure it's bland.
Yeah,
This is what I tell everybody when 3D printers come. These kids born from 2000 on, by the time that they're going to get to an age where they need to learn how to cook, we're going to have 3D printers where they're just going to like get on their little app and go, okay, I want lasagna, mom. And boom, lasagna's going to get printed. You want 5 cheese, you want beef, you want chicken, you want pork, you want a combo, and it's going to print it
yeah,
for
they
you.
don't remember their civilian life, so they get used to it after a while. It's just a normal thing.
Yeah. Wow.
That's why they erase the civilian life, so they don't complain about things.
Right. Yeah. Definitely don't want your crew anxious with anxiety. Wow. That's insane. That's insane. Um, wow. I'm just, yeah. You've substantiated most everything that I've said on my shows which is crazy because I know you haven't watched my shows. And coming from a totally different perspective on Earth and off Earth. So there's super soldiers off Earth, and then
Yeah.
there's some in underground military bases.
Yeah, the ones that I talk are mostly on underground. Sometimes I catch some that are off world, but mostly underground.
Are they? Do they? What's the purpose of the super space program? Let's start there.
From what I understood, as a, if I can sum it up, is would be colonization and expansion of the Orion Empire.
Of the
I
what
mean,
empire?
colonization and expansion for the Orion Empire.
Orion Empire. Define, describe the Orion Empire. What the hell is that? Another secret
so,
society?
so it is. I don't think it's a very big place from what I remember. I haven't looked at the astrology right now, but I don't think it's a very big place. Um, but it's where a lot of reptilians live. But there's also a lot of other beings that are um, on the same page with them that are also kind of like to colonize and overtake other civilizations. So they kind of have this whole domination thing going on, and Earth is a colony of them. It's a slave colony that's working for them, and they can take people from the planet. They can use them for military, construction, mining, whatever they want to use them for. Um, to take over other planets, to colonize other planets, and so on. So basically, they're kind of just kind of like bacteria. They go there, they take over one planet, and they go take over one planet, another planet, and infest the
So,
planet with their ideas,
okay.
with
So,
their control.
same thing like the Roman Empire. They you try and take over the world, except they're trying to take over everything.
Yeah, I mean, if when we look at the fact that Earth is any type of conquest on Earth is just a show, because they're outside forces that are controlling the Earth in reality. Um, so whatever the Roman Empire was doing or was trying to do, it was allowed to some degree just for like the Truman Show, but they were never really the real controllers. The real controllers are not on Earth.
What do you do? I can't remember if I asked you this. Do you know anything about Majestic 12, that organization?
A little bit, yeah. I asked Dara about it too. She said that they they kind of are split now. Some of them are positive, some are negative. But I think they were a government. They were made by the government like the not too long ago. But I think at this point they have some of them joined the secret space program.
Okay. According to Noel, they were the entity created after the Roswell crash to be the intermediary liaisons between humans and the aliens.
Yeah, when they get to know too much, like these different organizations, whether it's the Germans or like the Soul World, and I think came from like the U.S. Navy, when they start to dig too far and they start to figure things out, they kind of just take them as part of themselves. They're like, okay, well, the cat is out of the bag now. You know about it, so we're just gonna um, fuse with you. But the secret space program was always here this whole time underground. But then there's like these different um, people who dig too much and they find out about them, like MJ12 and all these, and then they reveal themselves to them, and then they recruit them or join forces or whatever they want to do with them, or they kill them off, whatever they feel like the next step is.
Um, Obviously, the name of this organization entity is not the Super or Secret Space Program, not Solar Warden. Does it have an organic name, or are you even capable of pronouncing it if it's in some other alien language?
You're talking about secret space program. What's their name?
What? Yeah, that's not obviously the name of the organization.
Katara gave it to me. I can look for the transcript of what she gave me. Do you want me to look for it? I don't remember right now, but she gave me the exact name of what it's called. Off world. It's somewhere on my channel. Do you want me to look for it?
Pardon me?
Do you want me to look for it? The exact names that she gave me. That
Oh, if, I mean, you don't have to. I just didn't know if they're. I've never heard it mentioned. Everybody calls it the secret.
Yeah, the secret space program is just a civilian term, but there is other names for it. But again, I have problems with memorizing things.
Yeah, I get it. That's
as you can as you noticed.
yeah, it might have triggered something. So remember, I'm trying to trigger memories as well when I ask you specific things, hoping it'll go somewhere. Sometimes it does. So, what, due to your experience and your knowledge, what would you suggest people who are enlightened but really don't have a direction? What would you suggest they do to move forward, to not get caught up in the matrix and the simulation, to be in the Truman Show for the rest of their life, and recycle these life experiences over and over and over, and have to come back and just ride that merry-go-round? What does that look like?
Well, usually people who are a little bit more awake, they have certain things that they're interested in, certain information, certain topics they like to talk about. So, just give me a second. Baby, can you close the door, please? Thank you. He's walking around, kind of distracting me a little bit. But yeah, they have things that they're interested in, and usually the things that we're drawn to, even if it doesn't make money, we can't really make money out of it, is the type of things that we're drawn to on a soul level. So I would recommend them keep looking more into the things that they're attracted to, even if they don't completely understand why they're attracted to these kind of things. For example, with me, I kind of went through different phases. At the beginning, when I was around 15, I started meditating, and I would go up into the mountains, and I would just sit there up in the park and meditate for hours just by myself. Just it felt like something I really wanted to do, and I didn't really want to search for anything online or do anything. Just sit there, and it was just natural for me to do. And then later on, when I was meditating, some people approached me and they told me about like meditation style called Kunlun Negung, and that I can learn it from a teacher.
Repeat that.
Kunlun Negung.
Okay. What is that?
It's kind of like it's a like you shake and it unblocks your energy field. Um, but I didn't have a appropriate teacher to teach me because the teacher was like teaching too many students at once. So I think I didn't really do it correctly. Um, so I did that for many years, and it helped me. It made my energy field much stronger because I would work with my energy. It's kind of like the Kundalini shaking. I don't know if people have seen those videos where people shake.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got older, I started to be interested in emotional healing because that was after my third 20 and back. I started to emotionally really like fall. So I felt like I needed to emotionally heal. So I started working on that, which is what I talk about the they some people call it shadow work,
Mm-hmm.
um, but the processing traumas and then so your soul can learn from it. So I started doing that, and then after that, I started to be more interested in um, like channelings of aliens that people did, um, which is basically what I do now. Um, Channelings of alien beings. And as I was interested in that and healing my traumas, I started to remember like being in black military uniform and killing people and so on. And I started like remembering getting like flashes of memory, and I was confused because I thought maybe it's past life or something. Um, but I just kept going, and the more I kept going, the more things started kept coming up, and and now I'm basically doing what I was interested in this whole time. I basically put everything together, which is meditation. I need to go into meditation state to be able to telepathically communicate because I'm in the third dimension and they're vibrationally higher. So it's easier for them to talk to me than it is for me to talk to them. So I have to go into meditation state to be able to um, empty my mind and be able to clearly receive and give off messages. So I'm using my meditation. The Kunlun helped me clear out blockages, energetic blockages. Energetically, so I'm not as dense as most 3D humans. I'm lighter than them, so that's why it's easier for me to communicate telepathically. I actually talked about that in another video we did, where I was saying that the more things you clear out, the lighter you become. Even though you look the same as another person, you're actually physically lighter. So at some point, if you keep becoming lighter, 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 you will actually disappear from the reality. You would just vanish. Um,
Is that a good thing
is
or a
it,
bad thing?
that's how you jump dimensions. You vanish from reality. So they might be physically standing in front of me. I don't know if I'll be able to physically see them if they were standing in front of me. Maybe they're dimensionally. I think they're probably more fourth dimension. So I'm actually not be able to see them if they're standing in front of me, because I'm actually denser than them right now. And you can see that by the time. Their time is very different from mine too. But that I don't know because I haven't physically stood in front of them to see if there will be physical people in front of me, or they'll be in another dimension standing in front of me where I won't be able to see them. But uh, but I'm already lighter than most 3D people. That's why it's easier for me to communicate this way, because I don't have so much dense energy to keep me from being able to use these abilities.
So this is you looking at your physical body standing on a scale going from 105 down to 98.
I don't mean like, well, to some degree it does. I think it does change your weight, but I mean lighter on
The
a
soul,
quantum level.
on the soul level, you have a lighter soul because people have heavy hearts is what they say, but actually
Lighter energy field, and also the my cells and the atoms that are making up my body are vibrating faster
okay.
than people who have never gone through the training that I went through.
Okay.
So the
Train
more
training is super soldier training or
that
training.
as well, but also I did meditation, and I also did the Kunlun Nikong, and I also was watching a lot of messages from higher dimensions when people were channeling them. And when you get information from higher dimensions, your vibration goes up too, because now they're introducing their reality into your reality, and the more you're learning about other realities, the higher your vibration goes.
Like this show.
Yes. And also the trauma that I've been clearing as well, that also raised my vibration as well. So all of these things, when I combine them together, that's the reason why I can do what I do. If I was dense enough, if I was dense like most people in the 3D, the more dense I would be, the more I would be in the Truman Show. And the less I would question things, the less I would be interested in anything outside of this reality. Um,
Trauma. Let's discuss that because you can do it on the cheap if you want to divest the time to learn all the different techniques that you can reduce your trauma, if not eliminate it. But there's also other treatments for reducing trauma, like psilocybin mushrooms,
yeah,
ketamine,
I've heard of
lots
that.
of ibogaine. There's apparently a lot of different types of psychedelics, hallucinogens that will assist with this. Um, those some are expensive, some are not legal. Some you have to go to foreign countries to have it done. So, for you, what would you suggest to the layperson or somebody who's watching this show and like, wow, a light bulb went off in their head to reduce trauma or eliminate it from their own experiences? What do you suggest they do?
So I wouldn't recommend any type of drugs at all for anyone who has been through any type of programs, black project programs, whether they were experimented on or been used as a soldier or have been mining off world. They also split the mine and do all that mind control stuff on them as well. So any type of work underground, off world, in black projects, uh, drugs are off the table because, first of all, what I've noticed is people get addicted to them very easy after these programs. And second of all, is because our minds have been altered synthetically. Um, our consciousness has been split. We have a lot of, how do you say it, like malware inside our heads that they've installed,
That's interesting.
programs that can go out of control. It's very dangerous to do things where you don't have full control of yourself. And I think drugs, they kind of um, make that process go unnaturally and faster than it should go. And people can, if certain programs get triggered, they can end up killing themselves or hurting others, or it really depends what programming they have that gets activated. So it's not very safe for these, for our types of minds. It might create a fusion between two personalities that were not ready to be fused too fast. That can create problems too. So I wouldn't do it with drugs. I would do it naturally, because then if you feel like you're overwhelmed, you can always go drink some water, distract yourself, do something else to kind of calm the system down, and then go and keep going through it again. But with drugs, you really don't have control. The drug it's gonna run as long as the drug is running, so it becomes more dangerous that way. And on top of that, we have very extreme traumas that were suppressed, and if they come up to the surface too quick and the emotional overwhelm is too much, um, it could be too much for the person, because we go through really extreme traumas when they try to control us, if we're not obeying orders, or um, sometimes we get traumatized when we get sent into combat. We see people dying, we see alien beings dying, we see our comrades dying. I mean, we go through very extreme traumas during training as well. We go through extreme traumas. Um, so I don't think it's very good to be using drugs for people like me, um, that have been. And there's actually more people like me than people realize, because there's a lot of people that get taken off world, not just for military reasons.
Okay, so you covered why we shouldn't do drugs, according to you, or you anyway. So explain the natural methods that one would use to assist with this. And as you go through them, I'm sure some could be free, some would you need to take a class or go watch a video. So kind of digest that for everybody.
Okay, well, I did say it before, so you just let your mind loop the whatever. If it's just emotion, let your mind loop the emotion. If you get memories coming up, let your mind loop the memories. Whatever is coming up, let your mind go through the process, because it needs to go through it. Um, the reason you're carrying still this memory as a trauma, whether it was stored as a emotion an or you actually can recall as a memory. I lost my track. So the reason it's still a trauma is because it was not processed after it happened. It was not fully processed. You either, like sometimes during combat, I didn't have time to be like grieving someone who died. I have to like make sure I survive and get out of there. So there would be like situations like that where I would just not be able to fully process it. And then on top of that, our memories and thoughts were monitored. So I wouldn't be able to process it even later, because I know if I grieve too much, then that would trigger AI to become alarmed, and then I'm gonna have to go through evaluation. If they feel like I'm mentally unstable, then I'm gonna have to go through more mental invasion and so on. So there were times when I could not process things the way I should have processed them. So now I have to go through that, but it works on it's the same thing for people even who go through traumas in civilian world. Like I had, there were when I was first going through like civilian memories, there was like one memory where I feel really, really sad. And I remembered like falling and scraping my knee as a child. And that was a trauma. I mean, for an adult, it's like ridiculous. But as a child, because I did not process that, and that was a big deal for me that back then, I recalled that. And apparently, I had strong emotions towards falling and scraping my knee when I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old or something.
So when you're processing that trauma, are to expedite it out of your reality so you get healed, are you having to relive that event, or you like face
Yep,
fears? Is that
yep,
what it is?
yep. There was actually one memory I kept looping a lot. I went through it with Kaitara. I published it was when I was so I remember them dragging me and then throwing me on the floor, and I do remember the pain in my pelvis as Qatar described it as well. So sometimes she gives me memories, she describes it to me, and then I remember more of like what happened. And I was begging them to kill me because I couldn't do it anymore. And I kept looping that because I had like really intense emotions towards that memory from the secret space program. And they after that they just wiped my memories and returned me back to service. But um but on some level that is still there, even though um during service I did not remember that memory at all, but it's still in my subconscious, and I still need to heal that experience so I don't end up in the same situation in the future. I don't create it in my reality anymore.
Wow.
I can keep going. There's like plenty of interesting memories like that.
There are, but I want people to prepare because my own eyes, time is of the essence. And I think too many people are going to they're going to be aware. They're going to be enlightened. They know this is coming, but they just get stuck in this rut and they never set the plan or the goal to say, okay, this month, this quarter, this year, I want to achieve this. I want to get out of the situation that I'm in the matrix simulation, and I want to get off the grid. But, most people can't just transition like that. They can't make that left turn. It has to be a gradual curve for them to get there over time. Um, what do you suggest people do? Do we start learning a new skill? Because most people are tied up in the whole system. Got to have insurance, got to have a place to live, they got a mortgage, they have a lease, these type of things. Not everybody lives in a beautiful oasis in utopia on Hawaii.
Yeah, I didn't
You.
always live there here either. That came with me working on myself. I lived actually when I first wanted to come to this location was when I was still going to medical school in Russia. I was very, very miserable. I was thinking, so I saw someone on YouTube, and she was living on the same island somewhere else, but on the same island that I'm in. And she was like, it, the background just looked so green, and it looked warm, and I was in cold Russia. People were hating each other. Like you would go into the bus and people would be rude to you. People were just like really stressed out, and my school was very strict. I was constantly in stress. Oh, by the way, I have my diploma here. Let me show it to you.
And how long ago was this?
Oh
What
yeah, I'm
year?
not lying about my school. So let me see if I can. Is it picking up? No.
No, your
Damn.
your background blurs it out.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't use them anymore. I
Uh,
always want to show something, and then I'd have to turn off my virtual background. Here you go, and then turn
let
my.
me see if I can turn it off real quick.
Yeah. So, how long ago was this when you were sitting in here
Okay.
rushing and you have this idea?
So, can you see it now?
Oh yeah. What is that?
So this is
Your diploma?
my Russian diploma from medical school.
Okay. Well, we don't read Russian, at least I don't. But
As
yeah,
you can see, the Russian,
yep.
the Russian.
The double. Yes, ma'am.
So that was military medical school in Russia. Let me see. Over here it says doctor in Russian. Wait, let me see.
Okay. So should I call you
No,
doctor?
over here it says doctor. Down here, Wretch.
Okay.
So yeah.
Should I start calling you doctor? You earned it.
I'm not working as one, so
Doesn't
so
matter. You
I
earned
just
it.
got it, but I never used it though. So it just stays here. I know my parents are pretty pissed. They were like, "We wasted all of that
They
money."
are. Yeah. Wow.
I got another one here in America, which is interesting because, again, a military school. Was called American Military University over here in America. I think it was in Florida. I got classes
Yeah.
online.
American University?
American Military University, AMU. You can look it up.
MU? AMU?
AMU.
AMU, huh? Okay.
Yeah. And I got bachelor's in intelligence because I just felt like I really wanted to learn that. And now I don't know what to do with it, but I mean, I could use it for my nonprofit to make me more credible, I guess. Yeah, that's the school. There was a lot of people from the military going there, and it was really interesting to see them react because we had to react to other people. Like it was part of our homework. So I would like write things about like the secret space program or aliens, and there would be like sergeants and like like different military people there, and they'll be like, I don't know if I believe in any of these stuff, but this is a very interesting topic you're talking about. So in my introduction to myself, I would always talk about like aliens, secret space program, like off-world wars and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I probably got a lot of people reporting me to the military for doing that. They were like, "Oh, there's a student in my class, sergeant. She's talking about some interesting things." So yeah, probably I got some monitoring from them for doing that. But I thought it was really interesting to see their reaction though. But a lot of people didn't react at all or were confused. Some thought that was freaking cool that I'm talking about topics like that. But
I can
yeah,
see.
I
I
was
can,
experimenting.
I can see how you would get solicited, recruited into some different programs by taking these classes at this school. You did all this remotely?
Yeah, it's you go remotely, you study. I got intelligence study, but it's really interesting that I always end up picking military schools, and I basically ended up picking the degree that I was doing in the secret space program. So it's like, even though I'm here, it intertangles with, because on a subconscious level, I'm still carrying that part of myself here. So on some level, I'm still picking things that look familiar to me from those programs.
Huh. Wow, I've never even heard of this place. I could actually go if I wanted to because my grandfather was in the Coast Guard.
Hmm. Yeah, for military members, it's free.
Wonder if it's like USAA. or if you have a relative who is a veteran or in military service, you qualify. Huh. I'll have to
They
look
have
into that.
interesting things to learn there. It was
Uh,
like the only school where I saw where they had intelligence studies. I was like, wow, that's something I want to learn.
yeah, I just read all that. I was like, whoa. That's why I said I could see how you would get recruited for specific things if you had a special interest in certain topics. Yeah.
Well, I finished my third 20 and back when I was around 20 years old. This was when I finished this year my intelligence studies.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So that's way after. So I've
Right.
already been through hell. That's way after.
Yeah. Join the club.
So,
We've got 8 minutes left. Anything you want to close with? Tell everybody, give us a kind of a teaser for your next show, what your topic
I don't
may
know.
not be.
What can I say? What can I close with? I mean, I am growing every day, learning more things about my past. Um, I'm not perfect. I I don't talk like I've studied this for 100 years. There's a lot of things that I learn and forget. I have some kind of mental block, and I was told to just keep repeating the information until whatever malware programming I have installed in me eventually gives up on trying to suppress these type of memories, this kind of information in my head. So yeah, I might not be as interesting as maybe some people that are talking more like they're reading a script, but it makes me question whether they have been maybe sometimes not even aware of it. Um, Sometimes they are specifically made for that purpose on a programming level of their mind, and they might not even remember they were programmed. So they might have installed information in them, and they might be talking like they know what they're talking about, but they might also have misinformation as well, uh, because they had information installed in them. So it gets very complicated with these kind of things because psyop is pretty much the number one way they control humanity. So confusing everyone is how they get away with things, and people cannot do really much about it. So the more confusing information becomes for people, the easier it is for them to get away with things. So yeah, I am not perfect. I am fighting with my mind every single day. There are times when I would think about questions that I want to ask Kathera, and then 20 minutes later I would forget the question if I don't write it down. And I'll be like, damn it, that was a really good question. I'm pretty sure of it, but I don't remember anymore. And so I'm constantly fighting with my mind, trying to um, keep this information in my mind. But then it gives you a view of how intensely controlled we are on a mental level. The control is not only physical, but on a mental, emotional level as well. So, of course, I'm not getting physically attacked because I'm protected by Galactic Federation, and my agreement was that they will only protect me if I don't seek revenge against the secret space program. So that was their end of the deal, and I said yes, I will not seek revenge against them. So that's why they're protecting me. If I go against that contract, they can always come after me physically as well. So that's the only thing that's protecting me right now. But of course, we're also physically controlled And many people have seen what happens when we're with physical control. We get abducted, we get killed. So yeah, it's not easy. And they think that because they've had us one time, they think that they own us. They still have that idea. Many sometimes when I connect to operatives, they're like, "Oh, I read your file. I know what you're like," and I'm like, "No, you don't. You don't know what I'm like, because over there I was a slave, and over here I'm a free person."
Right.
So no, you don't.
Wow.
So, so
Awesome.
so yeah.
What are we going to talk about next? Anything and everything?
Anything and everything that you want to talk about.
I don't really know what to ask. We just kind of have these conversations, and as you talk, ask more questions. So we're just going to go from there. Yeah, if you have anything that you want to, pops into your mind all of a sudden, text it to me or send it to me in Telegram. That way I have it, prepared.
I could just get some channeling text and maybe how do I say it? Like show it on the screen, so
Okay.
we could read like transcripts of
Sure.
things
Yeah.
that I've been given. It would be better than trusting my mind.
She's married, folks. Give her husband 2 thumbs up. IREN, thank you for being here again. It's always been a pleasure, always interesting and fascinating talking to you. And tell your husband, thank you very much for allowing you to come spend 2 hours with Fearless Floyd.
Thank you for having me on the show.
You're more than welcome, and you're coming
and
back.
Thank you for everyone to listen, so that they were listening to me.
And before we go, real quick, where can they find you over on Rumble?
Well, I kind of changed my name now. I called it End Modern Slavery Coalition, aka Beyond Top Secret. So I kind of combined it because I'm trying to move more into my nonprofit. I'm trying to become more legitimate, so I'm not just a crazy person talking about secrecy.
We'll just do 2 different channels. Do one.
It's the same one.
Yeah, do one on your secret space program, and then do one for your End Slavery Coalition.
Well, it's kind of intertwines, and it's hard for me to go into.
They'll overlap, but keep
yeah.
Yeah, they're 2 different topics, 2 different things, although they're the same.
They're the same because we're slaves when we're in these programs. So it's actually the same thing. So it's just that I'm talking about off-world slavery, which is just as important as regular slavery. Because people, when they come back, even if they just take it as a consciousness, they come back mental. That's why there's so much mental problems nowadays, emotional problems, and also health problems. Because when they get injured there, when they come back here, and on an energetic level, this is going to affect their physical body here.
I gotta go.
So, all right. Alrighty. Bye, everyone.
All right, there you have it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut her off, but I'm on a hard break here. She'll definitely be back on, as you guys know. Thank you very much for watching, coming over here and spending your time, money, and energy on the Fearless Floyd Show. I hope you learned something, become enlightened, go reach out and share and spread the news. Thank you, everybody.